ready, boss? You ready?
It's your world.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to welcome you to our Tuesday, August 3rd, 2021 meeting. A few housekeeping rules, please. We will hear 4 cases tonight. We will first have a staff report to summarize each case prior to any discussion the board members may have. We will then ask the applicant to step up to the podium to ask or answer any questions. We ask the applicant to begin by stating their name and address for the record, as these meetings are recorded. We will then ask for any public participation and again ask any participant to begin by stating their name and address. Please remember the topic of discussion needs to remain pertinent to the case being heard. The purpose of the Planning and Zoning Board is to hear the cases and make recommendations to the Clay County Commission. The Commission will review and decide the cases heard tonight on August 19th, 2021 at 10 a.m. in this room. Could we begin tonight with a roll call of attendance, please?
Terry Griffin.
Present.
David Rodas.
Present.
Chris Higgins. Brad Scarlett.
Present.
Marvin Davis.
Present.
And Chairman Tom Decker.
Present. And I would call for a motion to approve the minutes of our July 6th, 2021 meeting.
Make a motion to approve.
Very well. Do you have a second?
Second.
Very well. Can a roll call vote?
David Rodas.
Approve.
Terry Griffin.
Approve.
Brad Scarlett.
Approved.
Marvin Davis. Stay. And Chairman Tom Decker.
Approved.
Motion carries.
All right. The first case we will hear tonight is case number August 21-132RZ/F. And could we have a staff report, please?
Yes, Commissioner. May I attach the staff report as part of the record?
So be it.
Thank you. This is Jacqueline Ramsey Thorstenson and Buck T. Ramsey are requesting that they rezone from agricultural district to residential, or from agricultural to residential low density. If you can see the larger lot, which is lot 2A, that and the bottom portion, the green and the other one next to it, those two used to be 10-acre, it was one 10-acre lot, that portion there. And the applicant has asked that it be divided into 2 5-acre lots. And you can see a portion of that was taken out of the north lot 2A, which was agricultural. So there was a rezoning involved, of course, to R5. And then your next case is the vacation of the utility easement in between the 2 lots. So she added about a half an acre to make it to where they could, it could be divided into 5-acre lots and meet the code for the natural resources tier. And moving on with that, staff believes that the subject request complies with the 2008 comprehensive plan, as the applicant owners are proposing an agricultural land preservation, and the lots are 5+ acres. And it matches the area of the lots. As you can see, to the west is the Smithville Lake Reservoir, and it kind of goes to the south also, not of the property, but it's adjacent to Smithville Lake, and the reservoir goes to the south. Based upon all the evidence that has been presented, and the plat substantially appears to meet the land development code. The rezoning application was properly noticed in the Courier Tribune on July the 15th, and adjacent property owners within the 1,000 feet were sent a certified letter on July the 16th. There is 5 rezoning criteria. The applicant, you could ask the applicant about these. We believe, though, that they meet that criteria. The Clay County Highway Department, on the outside agency reviews, the Clay County Highway Department has noted, and you can see several, not so much conditions, but they've noted several things on the lots. And the Public Water Supply District Number 9 is able to serve the lots. The Public Health Center has given their final approval, and the Smithville Area Fire Protection serves these properties. And staff recommends that the rezoning be approved, subject to the applicant's addressing the 5 criteria. We also recommend that the final plat be approved with the conditions in Exhibit A, which there's one change to the recording copy, and the resolution for the vacation, which is the next case, be recorded with the final plat. And the applicants are here if you have questions for them.
All right, thank you, Debbie. Does any of the board members have questions for staff regarding the applicant? Very well, would the applicant please step up to the podium and state your name and address?
Hi there, Buck Ramsey, 16708 Collins Road. I'm representing my mother who's out of town for work currently.
All right. And Mr. Ramsey, do you understand the staff's report? Do you have any questions or concerns?
Yes, sir, I understand. I'll answer any questions you guys have. I don't really have any for you guys at this time.
All right. Did any board members have questions for Mr. Ramsey? All right. Thank you, sir.
Outstanding, thank you guys.
Is there anyone in the audience that would like to comment on the case being heard?
I have a question.
Would you step to the podium and state your name and address, please?
My name is Terry Nero. I'm at 5811 Northeast 160th Street, which would be just south of this property across E Highway. And it's been my understanding that the county plats should be no less than 10 acres, typically.
I might ask
Yeah, I
Mr.
would,
Jones if you could field that, please.
I would love to answer that question because
Okay.
we're hearing that a lot lately. So the 2008 comprehensive plan dictates what size lots are allowed in certain areas. There are certain areas of the county that require a 10-acre lot, but this is in one of the tiers that allows a 5+ acre lot.
And
So-
that just changed in what year?
2008.
2008.
So there's 2 tiers of the county that allow a 5-acre lot and 1 tier that requires a 10-acre lot.
And then can I ask you why you want to do this?
And no, questions should be addressed to the board, please.
Could I would like to know the purpose, the reasoning for taking this 10 acres to 2 5s.
I don't want to speak for the applicant, but I believe they plan on selling the lots, but Mr. Ramsey can come up and address that if you have no other questions.
I mean, I guess, is it just to take advantage of the current real estate climate, or?
That's a good question for him. We're trying to make sure that they're buildable lots, so if they wish to sell them, they could sell them. and somebody would be able to build one house per parcel.
Right.
If you have other questions, if you want to ask those, and when you're done, I'll ask Mr. Ramsey to come back up to the
Okay.
podium.
Would this also set a precedent for other properties in this area to have those smaller size plats?
I think Kip's already answered that question, that this is this part of the county's in a tier that's 5-acre lots are acceptable.
So I could replat my lots across the street into 5-acre lots?
If you have the acreage and that's your wish, yes.
Right.
Now, I will say every property is a little bit different, so there's road frontage requirements, there's a bunch of other requirements that would have to be met.
Well, I mean, okay,
But if you're in the same tier, 5+ acre lots are allowed as long as you meet the other regulations in the county code. And we believe this meets all the county regulations.
okay, and then.
So I would love for you to come into the office and we can discuss that if you want to subdivide.
These are just the questions off the top of my head. We received the letter, and so these are just, questions. I mean, my understanding has always been this 10 acres, and I know when they did the parcel up on 156th Street, they kept those probably no less than 9 acres. That was just last year or something like that. So I just thought that the 10 acres still stood. I didn't realize it had been changed, so. Okay.
All right, thank you. Mr. Ramsey, could you step up, podium, name, address, and answer Lay's question, please?
Buck Ramsey again, 16708 Collins Road. As for why they're dividing the two lots, or taking the one 10-acre lot and putting it into 2 5s, my grandfather purchased this land back in the 80s, I believe, and had built a house on it that my uncle now lives on. The lot you see in purple, 2A, and the other lots were inherited to my mother. She is planning on building a house on 2A potentially, and the 2 lots that they're dividing into the 2 5-acre lots are in line to be my brother's and I's if we ever wanted to build a house on it, and they wanted to give it the most equal lots available. And we jumped through a bunch of hoops to figure out how to make it to where it met all the criteria to divide the lands and make it as equal as possible for my brother and myself.
All right.
That's why we did it that way.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Is there anyone else in the audience who'd like to comment on the case being heard? And this is, we're doing rezoning only right now?
Yeah, well, so we'll do rezoning first and then final plat.
All right. I'd call for a motion to approve the rezoning of the replat of Lot 2 of Providence de Dios, Phase 1, Lot 3, Providence de Dios, Phase 2, as presented.
I'll move to approve.
Very well. Do you have a second?
Second.
Very well. Could I have a roll call vote?
Marvin Davis.
Approve.
David Rotis.
Approve.
Terry Griffin.
Approved.
Brad Scarlett.
Approved.
And Chairman Tom Decker.
Approved.
Motion carries.
And I'd like to roll into a request for, make a motion to approve the final plat of the replat of Lot 2, Providence del Dios, Phase 1, and Lot 3, Providence del Dios, Phase 2, with the conditions attached in Exhibit A. Can I have a motion for approval?
I'll move to approve.
Very well. Do you have a second?
Second.
Okay, roll call vote.
Marvin Davis.
Approve.
David Rotis.
Approve condition.
Terry Griffin.
Approved.
Brad Scarlett.
Approved.
And Chairman Tom Decker.
Approved with conditions.
Motion carries.
The next case we'll hear this evening is case number August 21-133V. And could we have a staff report, please?
Yes, Commissioner. May I attach the staff report as part of the record?
So be it.
Okay. Again, this is, goes along with the plat that you just approved. You can see up at the top in the hatched area, that is the portion of the utility easement that is asking to be vacated. And then a new one, of course, is being put between the two with this, another 15-foot easement. This vacation application was properly noticed in the Courier Tribune on the 15th of July. And utility providers were notified by a letter dated July the 8th. And the adjacent property owners were sent a letter on July the 16th. We've had no objection from any of the utility companies. And since there's been no opposition from any of the utility companies, we feel that this would be able to be approved based upon there's no stated objection from any utility company. And with the one condition that the resolution for the vacation be recorded simultaneously with the final plat. If you have any questions, I'll try to answer them for you, and the applicants are here also.
All right, thank you, Debbie. Any board members have questions for staff? To understand this, we're vacating the utility easement on Lot 2, but placed a new utility easement on the north side of Lot 3. Is that correct?
Yes. I believe if Kip wants to bring up the actual, yeah, there we go. You can see where the surveyor, I believe, has noted that. If you'll make it smaller, you can go down to the legal description, and he'll tell you which, in the legal description,
That's fine, I can see it
Yes.
on the plat, so,
as to what's actually being vacated.
all right. So the new easement splits the common property line between Lot
Yes.
2A or 3A, 3B. All right.
And as I had said before, what she did is added acreage from the agricultural lot, which was about a half an acre, to make it so that they would be 5-acre pieces.
Right, okay.
And that's where the vacating of the utility easement came in.
All right. All right, does any board members have a question for staff?
I'm kind of curious, is it required to have a utility easement right there? Because it's basically on the back side of that lot. I mean,
We do require, per code, that a 7.5 utility easement be along the property lines, and then a 30-foot in the road area, and 50-foot, and then you
Right.
have a 30-foot utility easement in there. Those are in code, per code.
But to your point, they don't get used a whole lot, but the code specifically says they should be around the outside boundaries of each lot. And they did not have to vacate this utility easement. It's so far back on that lot that it probably is not going to inhibit them anyway, but they chose to vacate it. It just cleans it up a little bit as
Okay.
well.
Any other questions from the board? Would the applicant step up to the podium, state your name and address, please?
Buck Ramsey again, 16708 Collins Road.
And Mr. Ramsey, do you understand the staff's report? Do you have any questions or problems with it?
I do understand it, and no questions at this time.
All right. Very good, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone in the audience who would like to comment on the case being heard? So- Yes, ma'am, if you go to the podium, state your name and address.
I'm just wondering, are these properties currently for
Could you-
sale?
Could you
I'm
state your name and address, please?
Oh, Terry Nero, 5811 Northeast 160th Street.
Okay, go ahead.
And I'm just wondering, for my own information, are these properties currently for sale?
I don't know if that's really pertinent to the case being heard this evening. I'm sure you could visit with Mr. Ramsey after the meeting adjourns, and you
Okay.
could answer that question.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to comment? Yes, sir.
I'd just like to add, my name's Ed Barnes. I live at 6605 E Highway, which is right across the street from this property.
Yes, sir.
What type of houses are they planning to put on this? I mean, is it single family? Is that what we're looking for here? Or,
Kip, you want to help me out here?
Yeah, so we're trying to create buildable lots. So they would have to abide by the county code. These two 5-acre lots are going to be zoned residential. The county's regulations allow one house per parcel, and then they would have to meet the county building codes. And we have a minimum square footage of 1,000 square feet of living space for a one-level home, 1,400 square foot of living space for anything other than a one-level home. But as far as, probably the same thing if you want to know how, and they may not even have plans. I don't know how far along they are with the building process. But if you want to know finishes and size, I don't have that information. That would be up to the homeowner as long as they meet our minimum requirements.
okay, has anybody applied for a building permit yet on these properties?
I don't think that building permits can be issued till the
Till this is done?
rezoning, the plating, and are completed and signed off by the commission and recorded.
Okay. All right, thanks.
Very well. Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else in the audience who'd like to comment on the case being heard? Very well. Call for a motion to approve the vacation of the utility easement within Lot 2, Province del Dios, Phase 1. We have a motion of approval with a condition attached in Exhibit A.
I'll move to approve with condition.
Very well. Do you have a second?
Second.
Very well. Do you have a roll call vote?
Marvin Davis,
Approve with condition.
David Rotis,
Approve with condition.
Terry Griffin,
Approve with condition.
Brad Scarlett,
Approved with condition.
Chairman Tom Decker.
Approved with condition.
Motion carries.
The third case we'll hear this evening is case number August 21-134 RZ/P. And could we have a staff report, please?
Yes, Chairman, would like to add the staff report as part of the official record.
So be it.
Okay, so I've got this one pulled up on the screen here. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. It's kind of in a unique area, and I'm going to turn on our comprehensive plan. So we look at two different things. We look at the comprehensive plan and the land development code. The comprehensive plan, as I stated with the previous case, tells us what size lot is guided by that comprehensive plan. And this area is right in between two of the tiers. So as soon as my map updates, I'll show you. But I've got the lots highlighted in the different colors. We're taking approximately 48 acres, and the proposal is to divide it into 5 lots that are all between 9 and 10 acres. I've got the comprehensive plan pulled up on here. The peach area is the urban services tier. That's the area where the comp plan guides us to do 10-plus acre lots. This urban services transition sub-tier is part of the natural resources tier, which allows a 5-acre lot. So it's right in that kind of gray area where we're transitioning from one tier to another tier. You can see this is 92 Highway to the north, and then Smithville Lake is up to the north and west. So I'm going to zoom back in because I want you to see how close we are to that urban services transition sub-tier. It's actually to the lot to the north is within that other tier, so we're right on that line. And I want to point out this lot across the street that was subdivided. It almost touches that. It's kind of in the same case. We allowed a 5-acre lot across the street. Each of these lots is larger than 9, but smaller than 10. So we're kind of in that range, but technically a little bit smaller than what the comp plan technically calls for in that tier. We also have some, I'm going to zoom out of here a little bit. We have some subdivisions to the east. And I think that, yeah, this is Sterling Meadows to the east. And this is a platted property to the north. And I want to zoom in on them. There's 2 lots that are between 9 and 10 acres just to the north of this property as well. And as part of that platting, there was 30 feet of right-of-way that was dedicated to the county. And we're proposing to do the same thing here on the northern lot, is dedicate 30 feet of right-of-way just in case if this land ever becomes part of Sterling Meadows or a new subdivision, there's a 60-foot wide access to be able to put in a county road if that ever develops. Now, I do also want to point out, this is not within a mile of any of the cities. So technically, it's in the urban services tier where we want to see development, but it's not within that 1 mile radius where we typically would see interior streeted subdivisions. So I don't really have any heartburn about going a little less than 10 acres here, because you can see this is the 1 mile radius with Smithville, and then there's not, it's just not close to that 1 mile, so I don't know that it warrants keeping this open where it could be subdivided into a, what we would consider a more dense city-style subdivision, because we are quite a ways outside the city limits. So with all that being said, staff believes, even though it's less than the 10 acres, that it meets the surrounding area, and it's in a unique area where we're transitioning between those 2 tiers. This case was also noticed in the Courier Tribune, and adjacent property owners were sent certified letters. It has the same 5 rezoning criteria that any rezoning case has. The applicant received all their outside agency approvals. We'll point out that the Highway Department is requesting 50 feet of right-of-way on the WHB side, and then we're also requesting that 30-foot of right-of-way on the north side of Lot 1 that would leave that access open in the future if needed. They received all their other outside agency approvals. The ponds, it's my understanding that the applicant has contacted the inspection service for the ponds. We just don't have the report yet, so I think that's in the works. And then we talked about the Lakeside Meadows and the 30 feet of right-of-way. There also is a stipulation in the Land Development Code that requires subdivisions with 5 or more lots to receive an exemption from the Highway Department, because the LDC will tell us that 5+ lots have to be served by an interior street. The Highway Department did grant that exemption for this case. Staff is recommending approval with the 3 conditions you can see in Exhibit A. I also do want to mention that the gentleman in the back of the room showed us a plat right before the meeting started that shows a pipeline on the property to the south. That did not come up so far with this case. So staff will obviously research that. If the commission chose to add a condition that staff research it and add that to the plat, we could consider that as well. But that was news to us before the meeting started, so I just wanted to mention that we'll look into that, and if the commission decides to add a condition, we can do that as well. And I'd be happy to answer any questions the commissioners may have, and the applicant is also present.
Kip, what are the lot sizes over in Sterling Meadows?
Good question. I think they're 3 to 4, but let me double check that. My map's got a... So that one's 3, right at 3 acres, 3 acres, 3. They're all right around 3.
Okay. Thank you. Is that a natural gas easement on the south side?
I think it's a pipeline is all.
Okay, yeah, because there's one that runs all the way from Kansas City up through that area, but if that's not showing up, better find it.
Yeah, and that usually, comes up, that's not an uncommon occurrence, but for whatever reason, that didn't come up with the plat.
And the mystery pipeline is on one of the lots, or you said it's to the south of Lot 5? Or?
Yeah, I believe, and we looked at it really quickly, but I believe the certificate of survey that the gentlemen have is on this property to the south, and
Okay.
it shows it running north.
Okay, so there's a chance it could not be in conflict with what we're discussing this evening.
Yeah, well, there's a chance that
It's a good
I
chance
think-
it might run through it, right?
it might run right through these lots, which isn't uncommon. We would just need to note it on the plat and add a note on the plat as to what they can and can't do in that area. You know, we get a case almost every month that has a pipeline running through it, but it needs to be noted on the plat so there's not any issues down the road. So, I mean, if we wanted to totally cover our bases, I think you could just add a condition that says staff will research the existence of a pipeline and add to plat as needed or something along those lines.
All right.
Obviously, we're going to do that anyway, but that's up to the commission.
Does any other board members have questions for staff? Very well. Would the applicant please step up to the podium, state your name and address?
Thank you, Your Honor, and board members. I'm Kenneth Trump, and I'm representing Michael Middleton.
Okay. Do you have an address, please, sir?
Say again?
Address?
The address for me,
Your address, yes, sir?
6174 Southwest Cook Road, Plattsburgh, Missouri,
All right. Very well.
64477.
All right. Thank you. Do you understand the staff's report? Do you have any questions for the staff or the board members?
Does the board have any questions? Sir, I have trouble hearing. I
Yes, sir.
apologize.
Do you understand the staff's report?
Yes, I want the staff support, and we do have it.
All right. Do you have any questions for the staff, or you're good with everything?
No, I'm very happy with what they've done and what they've said.
All right. Very well. Thank you, Mr. Trump. Thank you. Is there anyone in the audience who'd like to comment on the case being heard? Yes, sir.
Good evening. My name is John McGee, and my brother Patrick and I own the land just south of this proposed rezoning. And I'm the one that really presented at this probably late hour of this plat, and I want to clarify what I understand. I'm not absolutely sure, but I want to recall that this this is in the recorder's office, because I'm still getting letters from an Ohio-based pipeline company, within every year, and they still maintain that pipeline. And it does go from the southeast to the northwest across all these proposed rezoning tracts. And if there's anything I can do to help the research, I'll be happy to do that. I can't think of really anything else that I would want to say now. I like Mike Middleton. I think he's, I really thought he bought this land to keep his land from being, or the view across from his home, being obstructed by development. But then again, what's being proposed here, happens, and I understand that. So I don't have anything else to say at this time. This subject to qualification, does that mean that if in fact it's blessed by the your team, Kip, and it's in that mode to be therefore approved, is the case closed, or is there another approval process that we can attend?
We'll finish hearing the case this evening, and then This case will be presented to the Clay County Commission on August 19th at 10 a.m. in this room, and you're welcome to attend that meeting also.
And that meeting will be obviously based on what's researched on this pipeline. It's a 50-foot easement, if I'm not mistaken. And I want to recall the old Sinclair Oil used to have this thing. I mean, this goes back to the...
Well, I think the staff has made it very clear that they're going to follow up on investigating this easement and make it part of the approval process.
Yeah, so I think, if you don't mind, Chairman, I think my goal would be to have an answer about that pipeline before we went to county commission. So I would hope we would have all that hashed out, figured out, and have a condition, if needed, to make the surveyor note that on the plat, and then also note any restrictions, because obviously they don't allow building or landscaping over that easement. So the goal would be to have all that hashed out before we went to county commission.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay. Is there anyone else in the audience who would like to comment on the case being heard? Okay. I think I'd like to maybe phrase and call for a motion that the mystery pipeline be investigated and confirmed with the staff and be added as an attachment to the approval process.
Okay, so yeah, if we're going to add a condition, we would just need a motion.
All right.
And if you wanted to go that route, something along the lines of staff shall research the existence of a pipeline and require that the easement and restrictions be noted on the plat.
I would make a motion for approval that this mystery pipeline, so to speak, is confirmed if the easements exist and the pipeline exists, and that staff would follow through appropriately. If you could have a motion for approval, please.
I'll move to approve.
Very well. Do you have a second?
Second.
Do you have a roll call vote?
Marvin Davis.
Approve.
David Rotis. Terry Griffin.
Approve.
Brad Scarlett. And Chairman Tom Decker.
Very well.
Did you vote, Tom? Did I
I'm
miss you?
sorry. Approve.
Motion carries.
I'll make a comment as well. I mean, these lots are big enough, even if that pipeline's running through there, there's gonna be enough space. I mean, you can put a driveway over it. It's not gonna make a difference on these size of lots, I don't believe whatsoever. And we've got neighborhoods that have streets that go over this same exact pipeline. So shouldn't be a problem whatsoever. It's just gonna be where you can put that house. It's either gonna be on the back side of that lot, especially on lot 5, because you've got, looks like a pond right in the middle of it, or it's gonna have to be closer to the front, but that's the only difference it's gonna make on that pipeline.
All right. With no further discussion, I would call for a motion to approve the rezoning of Middleton Acres. Can I have a motion for approval, please?
I'll move to approve.
Very well. Do you have a second?
Second.
Very well. Do you have a roll call vote?
Brad Scarlett.
Approve.
David Rotis.
Approve.
Marvin Davis.
Approve?
Terry Griffin.
Approve.
And Chairman Tom Decker.
Approve.
Motion carries.
Now I'd like to roll right into motion for the approval of the preliminary plat of Middleton Acres with the conditions set forth in Exhibit A attached. Can I have a motion with the conditions, please?
I'll move to approve with conditions.
Very well. Do you have a second?
Second.
Do you have a roll call vote?
Marvin Davis.
Approve with conditions.
David Rotis.
Approve conditions.
Terry Griffin.
Approve with conditions.
Brad Scarlett.
Approve with conditions.
And Chairman Tom Decker.
Approve with conditions.
Motion carries.
The fourth case we'll hear this evening is case number August 21-135F. If we could have a staff report, please.
Yes, Chairman, would like to add the staff report as part of the official record.
So be it.
So this is the final plat for Middleton Acres. Basically, it's the same case that we're presenting with the preliminary plat. No changes. Section 151-3.6D of the Land Development Code gives us the procedures and submittal content for a final plat. We believe that everything presented complies with the Land Development Code and complies with the preliminary plat. Staff is recommending approval, and it's approval with the three conditions, which are the same conditions from the previous case. I would say my recommendation to the commission would be, let's add that same condition with the final plat, and then go ahead and vote on the final plat as well.
Okay. Do you need a motion and a vote to add the condition?
Yes, sir.
And we can start off with the board's discussion. I'd like to call for a motion to add the fourth condition to the Exhibit A that the existing pipeline easement be investigated and addressed by the staff. You have a motion to add the condition, please?
I'll move to approve.
Very well. Do you have a second?
Second.
Very well. Do you have a roll call vote?
Marvin Davis.
Approve.
David Rotis. Terry Griffin.
Approved.
Brad Scarlett.
Approved.
Chairman Tom Decker.
Approve.
Motion carries.
Does the board have any questions for staff? Would the applicant please step up to the podium, state your name and address?
Kenneth Trump, and I guess it's 1101 South Highway 169 in Smithville, Missouri.
Very well, thank you, Kenneth. Do you understand the staff's report? Do you have any questions?
I don't.
All right. Very well, thank you.
I just want to thank you for the first vote, though.
Yes, sir. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to comment on the case being heard? With no further discussion, I would call for a motion to approve the final plat of Middleton Acres with the conditions attached set forth in Exhibit A. Could I have a motion for approval, please?
I'll move to approve.
Very well. Do you have a second?
Second.
Very well. Could I have a roll call vote?
Yeah, and I just want to make sure this is with conditions, correct?
With conditions, yep.
Marvin Davis.
Approve with conditions.
David Rotis.
With conditions.
Terry Griffin.
Approved with conditions.
Brad Scarlett.
Approved with conditions.
Chairman Tom Decker.
Approved with conditions.
Motion carries.
Well, I think that concludes our meeting for the evening. Does the manager have any comments? Or
I just have a couple, so want to update the Planning and Zoning Commission on some of the previous cases. So the exotic animal case, conditional use permit was denied by the county commission. The St. Mary's conditional use permit for the maternity home was approved by the county commission. And all of the, I would say, normal cases that the Planning and Zoning Commission has heard has been approved by the county commission except for Apex Acres, and that one is still, it's going to be heard next week again. So I'll update you next month on that one. And then I also want to thank Debbie once again. This is her last Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. So I want to thank Debbie for her 24 years of service and to invite everybody to the Planning and Zoning Office Friday from 3 to 5 to come eat some cake and give Debbie a hard time.
you know, Debbie, you didn't ask my permission that you could retire. I don't know if this is really acceptable or not. So I know you're going to be missed. So I think you're kind of the brains behind the scenes here. So they have big shoes to fill. So. All right, I would call for motion to adjourn the meeting.
Move to adjourn.